Breaking news, and there are dramatic scenes in Washington D.C. right now where there's been a major security scare. There are reports of an active shooter in the US Capitol building. The building has been evacuated while others have been told to shelter in place. Let's go live to US correspondent Tim Lester, who's in Washington right now. Tim, what is the latest?
Well, Nat, a real sense of tension here as police try to sort out an earlier call to emergency about an hour ago, suggesting that an active shooter was on the loose inside the Senate office building. I'll explain. The Senate office building is the one directly behind me, just one block up this road on Washington D.C. It's actually just across the road from the Capitol building. The one we all recognise with the big dome is sitting 100 metres through there on the other side of the trees. Scores of police vehicles on that emergency call racing here. Police officers, many armed with military-style weapons, storming into the Senate building behind me, ordering either all in it had to shelter in place or evacuate. And you can see if you look up to the grassed area in front of the building, there are a number, dozens of people who've been forced out of the building and are now waiting to see what happened. Police have already said they have 200 officers here trying to sort out what's going on. So far, they've been unable to locate an active shooter. It may all turn out to be a hoax, though they're not willing to say that yet. They're still holding us back. They're holding the people working in the building back, trying to sort out whether there is a threat or not. All of this happening just one day before the appearance of the former president in court. We'll give you a look down here. He's only about 200 metres away to the courtroom where Donald Trump will appear tomorrow on charges related to the 2020 election, guys.
Right, so that's 6 a.m. our time tomorrow, and police have to go room to room to make sure there's nothing there. Thank you very much, Tim Lester, live in Washington for us. Here's Sherbo.
Thanks, Nat. A man will face court this morning following a stabbing spree in Melbourne's northwest. Live to Tegan Dolling in Moonee Ponds. Tegan, this was a terrifying attack.
It was, Sherbo, especially because police say that it was random. The 4 people who were injured were all just down here in Moonee Ponds going about their daily business. Now, the 36-year-old man from Broadmeadows who was arrested just down at the train station was questioned overnight, and he's been charged with 29 offences, including armed robbery and assault with a weapon. Now, he's accused of going into one of the bargain stores here in Moonee Ponds. Witnesses say that they saw him trying to steal a number of things, and police will allege that it was then that he stabbed the 50-year-old shopkeeper in the neck with a pen, and during that altercation 3 other people were also stabbed, including a man who was in his 80s. Now, they were all taken to hospital, Sherba. They all spent the night there. They're luckily all in a stable condition, and that man will front the magistrate's court this morning.
Thanks, Tegan.
Let's get more news now. Here's Eddie.
Thank you so much. That a motorbike rider is fighting for life this morning after he was caught in a major crash in Melbourne's southeast. The 35-year-old was travelling in Wheelers Hill around 6:15 p.m. when he crashed into a car. He was rushed to hospital in a critical condition. The driver of the car is being questioned by police, and Fern Tree Gully Road will be closed while crash investigators piece together what happened. Explosive findings have emerged overnight from the inquiry into the handling of Bruce Lehrmann's rape case. Let's go live to Jennifer Beshwadi in Canberra. Jen, the report contains a raft of very damning allegations against the ACT's chief prosecutor.
Yes, it does. Morning, Eddie. Well, the report hasn't been made public yet. It was handed to the ACT government this week. However, the Australian newspaper has obtained a copy and published some of the findings this morning. And I'll read some of them to you now. The report allegedly states that Shane Drumgold knowingly lied in court, that he engaged in unethical conduct and treated criminal litigation as a poker game in which a prosecutor can hide the cards. It adds that Mr Drumgold had lost objectivity during the prosecution of Bruce Lehrmann for the alleged rape of Brittany Higgins and did not act with fairness and detachment as was required by his role. According to the Australian newspaper, the head of the inquiry, Mr Sofronoff, said he was deeply disturbed by Mr Drumgold's ignorance of ethical principles. The only finding that was in his favour was that Mr Drumgold was justified in bringing his prosecution against Bruce Lehrmann, despite police saying that there wasn't enough evidence. Now, Bruce Lehrmann has responded, calling this a really dark chapter for the ACT justice system. And Mr Drumgold has been on leave from his role as Director of Public Prosecutions here in the ACT for a couple of months now. It's not clear whether he will return. Eddie?
Thank you, Jen. A cabinet crisis is brewing in New South Wales this morning after a minister was dumped for failing to disclose a major conflict of interest. Let's go live to Liam Tapper at New South Wales Parliament. Liam, the minister has been referred to the corruption watchdog.
Yeah, good morning, Eddie. Chris Minns himself has referred Tim Crackenthorpe, the Newcastle MP, to the ICAC after it was revealed that he's failed to disclose a number of significant property holdings held by his family members in the Hunter Valley. Now, Tim Crackenthorpe himself, he said that this was an unintended omission, but Chris Minns, he said that this is a breach of the ministerial code. Now, he has been referred to the ICAC, and Tim Crackenthorpe, while he has been stood down from the ministry, he will keep his place in Parliament, depending on whether the ICAC will actually even investigate Tim Crackenthorpe himself. But this is real crucial to Chris Minns because, of course, he does have a minority government. Now, one thing that the Premier will be grilled on in question time today is who knew what when. The Premier, he said that he only found out about these potential conflict of interest earlier this week, but the opposition, they've come out and said that Crackenthorpe, this information about Crackenthorpe was available in 2014. So, Eddie, despite a change of government, what changes, unfortunately, here on Macquarie Street still remains the same.
Thank you so much, Liam. Police are this morning searching for a hammer-wielding trio who ambushed an Uber driver in Brisbane's Inner West. Let's go live to Georgie Chumley. Georgie, he suffered some really serious injuries.
Good morning, Eddie. That's right. 51-year-old Jason King says he feared for his life. The Uber driver was driving around looking for a job in the early hours of yesterday morning when a group of 3 people ambushed him. They posed as riders, hopped in his car and then attacked him with a hammer. They stole his phone, his wallet and his car, leaving him on the side of the road, injured and wandering around for about half an hour before he could flag down help. Now, police found his Toyota Camry around 40 kilometres away from where the attack initially happened. It happened in Taringa. His car was found in Logan, but police still haven't found the people who are responsible. Now, Mr. King, the Uber driver, is now recovering at home. He's been offered some financial compensation from Uber, but he said it'll take him a long time to recover from this attack. Eddie?
Thank you, Georgie. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his wife Sophie have announced they're separating after 18 years of marriage. In a statement, the couple said they made the decision after many meaningful and difficult conversations. The Prime Minister's office said the pair had signed a legal agreement. The Trudeaus, who married in 2005, have 3 children aged 9, 14 and 15.